OTP. I'm Amie Wells, and I am joined by draft gurus Rhett, Bryan, and Coach Mac, Dave McGinnis. We are getting ready for the 2025 NFL Draft. You guys have spent months watching tape, sifting through numbers and measurements and workouts and all of these statistics. You have gathered stories and interesting little nuggets, and now is the time to put all this information together. Like, this is it. The draft is in days, and I would like to create for the OT people a one-stop shop where they can get all of the information about the top prospects at each position in the NFL draft, and they can do with that information what they like. But obviously the goal of the OTP is to keep everybody informed, make sure they know who's who in the zoo, make sure we know what is going on. And so you guys are here. And I have asked you to put together a list of your guys' top prospects at each position, and you so graciously did it. Mm-hmm. And so I would like to roll through that. Are you guys cool with that?
Let's go.
Sure, let's go.
If we share your findings?
Before we get started, this is a lot of work that we've done, and we're still in the process of putting our draft board together, which it always changes. But we're not talking about prospects here that we think the Titans are going to take.
No.
We're just this is an overview of who's out there, and it's not only the top people. You ask us just to go through, because the draft is not just about the first round. And especially in this draft, Amie, and I know you're well versed in this. You were at the combine for the whole time too. This is a really strong, what you call belly of the draft. With these, a lot of players that won't be first round picks. There's only 32 first round picks, but there's 279 players taken. So we're going to cover a gamut of players, not saying these are the people the Titans are going to take, but just in what we've done so far, these are the guys a little bit that kind of stick out to us.
These are the names that you can throw out at a party and sound like you know what's going on.
And not only sound like, you will know what's going on.
And we really like that. I do want to pull back the curtain just a hair. When do you guys start working on this?
We started about 6 days after the season was over.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Been working every week since
mid-January.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's and then look, the real draft preparation for clubs, they're already working on 2026.
Wow.
It's a year. It's a year ahead. All those years that I was a coach, it was a year ahead. And now as a coach, you don't start until your season's over also, but your scouting departments, they're always a year ahead. So the things that we get are things that you can look off of tape. That's why I spend the whole week at the combine in Lucas Oil, watching all these drills, talking to all the position coaches, do that. The thing that I miss from the 3 decades that I was coaching is I don't get to talk to these players now like we're sitting here talking with one another. I don't get to interview them, and I don't get to go to school workouts. I don't do that. I just don't have time. I can't do that. That's a huge piece of this puzzle now, and also the 30 visits that you set up. All of this stuff that we're doing right now is extremely important, but those face-to-face interviews, as you're narrowing down people that you think that you might want to take, and it runs the gamut of all of them, we don't get to do that, but we can dive into the particulars, the Rhett nuggets that he digs out. I mean, teams hire people to go out and do this 300 days a year to do this. He's really good at this. I've watched tape and know how to evaluate tape. I've learned in a lot of years, doing this. So anyway, that's what we're doing.
And I'm excited. I'm excited to hear your guys' lists. And Rhett, I would like for you to kick this off.
Okay.
I would like to hear some of your top safeties in this upcoming draft.
Couple 3 that I really like that are certainly at the top of the Mac Rhett board. Malachi Starks from Georgia, 6 feet 7/8 inches, 197, hands 9.5, arm 31 5/8, wing almost 79. Star safety in that defense, and these guys that I'm mentioning, you're going to hear a lot about, and you have seen a lot because, especially with the 12-team college football playoff, they played a lot of football.
Right.
Can I stop this a minute?
Yep.
Why?
For our OT people. She's worried. She said, why?
Why?
This is exactly what you do in draft meetings.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's exactly what you do in draft meetings. In other words, who's ever in charge, it will sit up there and say, okay, Rhett, give me your safeties. And then that's why you write reports. And so then everybody else puts everything down. They sit and listen to your report because that's the time that you can. So this is exactly what goes on in draft rooms in the prep for this. Now, the discussions, who's who in the zoo, those types of things, that takes place later. But the thing that you're doing now that Rhett started out reading on, that's the first thing that happens. Nowadays, what they do, they put it up on a big screen.
Oh, yeah.
It's a huge screen, everything, but you still read your report. When I first started doing this a lot of years ago, you couldn't talk about a player unless you'd written a report. If you were in the room and you didn't write a report, you listened, you didn't talk.
You don't get a vote?
None.
Ooh.
None. I could tell you some really bad stories about. Anyway, we won't. But this is perfect because this is exactly what goes on in a pre-draft meetings where the head of the department, you say, Rhett, give me your safeties.
I'm the head of the department now.
You are the head of the department.
Cool.
All right. Keep going, Rhett.
All right. I thought something was on fire, so that was a lot better than what I thought was about to happen.
Malachi tested pretty well at the combine. 4.50 in the 40, first 10 yards, 1.51. 3-cone drill, 7.26, 33-inch vertical leap. But a very important part of that Bulldogs defense, and that's why he's in the one of the top pods in our board. Another guy that played a lot of college football, and for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, is Xavier Watts. 5'11 3/4, 204 pounds, hands 8 5/8, arm 31 1/4, wings 71 1/2. Now, he did not test at the combine. Again, played a lot of college football, being that deep into the college football playoffs with 12 teams involved. Kevin Winston Jr. is still going to be a top prospect people are going to be looking at coming off of injury. 6'1 1/2, 215, hands 9 1/2, 32 1/2-inch arms, wing 80 7/8. So a long prospect there. He did not test at the combine because he's still coming off of injury.
Couple of questions here. Malachi Starks, he's a guy who's known for his versatility. Do you think that versatility and being able to play it at a variety of different positions is going to have an impact on his stock with teams?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're talking about playing a star position, just like we've seen some of these guys play the star coming out of Alabama's defense. I mean, yeah, position versatility. I mean, the more you can do, Coach Mack.
Well, the star position for I mean, this is Nick Saban's defense, and then, of course, everybody that's worked for Nick Saban, it's spread throughout not only the Southeastern Conference but collegiate football. And the star position is a hybrid position as a walk-away linebacker. A walk-away linebacker / slot defender. They're asked to do a lot of things. They're asked to be able to read, to key and diagnose runs. They're also asked to cover man-to-man. They're also asked a lot of times to be able to roll back into a half field, or sometimes roll back into a post. It's a very versatile position. That's normally where the best K&D or key and diagnose player on their defense is because of the way the offenses are spread out. So when you hear someone say he played the star, know that his football IQ is probably pretty high.
Kevin Winston, you mentioned coming off of that injury. He's such a physical player. Is that something that will be taken into account after you see a guy coming back from an injury? There's always some question marks. What's he going to be like? Is he going to be okay? When's he going to be able to contribute? All of that stuff. But when there's such a physical player, does that almost make up for the other stuff?
Depends on the injury, and I forget what his injury is off the top of my head right now. But, yeah, I mean, look, you want a guy that puts his face in the briar patch, as Coach Mack would say, right?
Right.
But yeah, that is you're always looking for a guy that is not afraid of contact.
The thing that happens, though, nowadays that is so important for people to understand, because modern medicine now, especially with athletic injuries, is so far advanced. Used to be if you tore your ACL, let's just say this, playing football, you were basically done because they opened you up like Frankenstein. You had a huge zipper from the top of your leg all the way down. Then they put you immobilized you in a cast. So when that cast came off, all the atrophy had taken place. It was really close to a death sentence. Now, arthroscopic surgery, I mean, it's incredible for that, for the Achilles, for a lot of these injuries now, just because of the technological advance in surgical medicine. It makes a lot of these injuries not as catastrophic or as career-ending as they used to be.
All right, Mac, let's hear your list. Who are some of your top safeties to know?
Nick Emenwari from South Carolina. And I mean, this guy is a physical freak. Tests off the chart, 6'3", 220 pounds, hand size 9, which is important. I mean, he can grab you and choke you, which is important. You got 32.5 arm length, wingspan of 80. His combine testing, he blew the roof off of Lucas Oil. 40-yard dash, 4.38, which is, for a guy that size, a 10-yard split. We've talked about 10-yard splits before as a 1.49, which is in a way elite category. Bench press, 20 reps as a big, long dude to 20 reps, so you know he's got really good upper body strength. Vertical jump of 43 inches. Whoa. I mean, that's NBA stuff. And a broad jump of 11.6. So you talk about a big, explosive athlete. He's built like a linebacker. He's got rare fluid movement and speed for a player of his size. He's really an instant athlete. You watch him. He's an instant athlete for that size. He uses his length a lot when he's in press coverage. He's a good anticipator. On his breaks and stuff, he's very, very quick. He's a quick recon guy. He recognizes stuff very, very well. Of course, with his size, physicality, Amie, he's an excellent run defender. His tackling is exactly what you want. Doesn't miss many tackles, and he's got a catch radius, and he's got good ball skills. He's got elite ball skills. Okay, so what you're looking at is a very physically gifted player. If you want to look at his minuses, because of his length, because of this, he's not. Sometimes his back pedal is not as fluid as you would like, but he won't be backpedaling a lot as to where you were going to play him. I say he's built like a linebacker. You could probably move him around quite a bit as a defensive signal caller. A guy like this, you can play against a lot of different personnel groups because he's big enough and physical enough to be able to drop down as an overhang backer and play the run against a 12 personnel, which is 2 tight ends, if you want to do that. Or he can play in space. Andrew Makuba from Texas, 5'11", 186 pounds. Again, arm length of 30, hand size of 9, which is, it's important. Defensively, you got to have mitts so that you can grab these guys and hold on to them. I mean, wingspan of 75, 4.45 in a 40, 1.53 with a 10-yard split. He had 3 years of experience playing nickel. He switched over to safety. He's got good range. He makes plays on the ball. 5 interceptions, 6 pass breakups in 2024. Good recognition. He's got a fluid pedal because now he's 5'11". So his center of gravity is a lot lower. A fluid pedal, a good efficient hip transition. He's a transitional player. Now, his size, he's pretty average with that size, and a lot of times because of that lack of size, he'll get stuck on blocks. But Andrew Makuba from Texas, good solid player. The last one that I've got is Jonas Sanker from Virginia, 6 foot, 206 pounds, 9 3/4 hands. Again, all of these guys, when you can see their tackling is good because they got big enough mitts to put on you. Arm length, 32 1/4, 77 wingspan, 4.48 40, 36.5 vertical, 10.8 broad. So this guy's got good strength. He's got a. You look at him personally, he's pretty muscular. He's pretty defined with his build. 173 solo tackles in 2023, which led the FBS. He can keep pace with downfield vertical stuff. He uses his length. He's got a great trigger. A great trigger means he can transition from back to forward and get into the fray pretty quickly. Sometimes with really fluid receivers, he's a little bit sticky, at times with his movement, and then he comes in a bit. Comes in sometimes with his angles a little bit hot. He's a little bit reckless with those angles sometimes, but I like the player. There'll be a place for him in somebody's defense.
Mac, with so many guys with impressive physical attributes, does that just come down to a kind of a defensive coordinator's and a coach's flavor of what they're looking for to fit into their scheme?
There's a difference between playing in the post, being a middle of the field safety, being a two-deep safety, or being a guy, as some of these guys we've talked about, that can transition from back to front to move down. So, yeah, I mean, it depends what defensive coaches want, Amie, because as much as offenses change personnel groups, that's why when you hear me broadcasting a game, I'm always telling you the personnel groups that the offense has put into plays down by down, play by play by play, because defensive coaches have to match personnel. As a defensive coach, you're reacting to matching personnel with what the offense is putting on the field. So the more guys that you have defensively, especially in the back end, that have multiple things that they can do, the less people you're going to have to substitute. And the more that you can call defenses as to where guys can do multiple things, you're doing what we call same as defensively, as to where you may be playing with some different personnel, but your responsibilities can kind of meld together and be the same.
Rhett, I don't want to blow past any good Rhett nuggets. So if there's anything you hear, and for the OT people, just a reminder, a Rhett nugget is a good piece of backstory or information that gives you a fuller picture of who this person is and what that makes them unique or remarkably good or bad. That is a Rhett nugget. If there are any, just shoot up the Rhett nugget signal.
I will.
I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what the signal is, but I have a feeling I'll know it when I see it. This summer, SeatGeek has your ticket to the best live concerts in Nashville at Nissan Stadium. SeatGeek has the best seat, your seat, for an unforgettable summer. From rock royalty to rap superstars, R&B to country, find it all on SeatGeek, the official ticketing partner of Nissan Stadium. Little Caesars is the official pizza partner of your Tennessee Titans. Download the Little Caesars app and get your favorites delivered today. Delivery fees apply. Now, back to the OTP. Let's move on to corners, because I feel like we're in a very good kind of DB space, and I wanna stick with that. Rhett, who is on your list of corners that we should be looking out for?
There's a couple of corners that there's an argument about who's the best one in this class, and there's some good ones. A couple of guys at the top. One is Will Johnson from Michigan. Now, he's one of the holdovers from the national championship team of a year ago, where they had, 18 guys that were draft eligible last year. And, of course, Ohio State has that run this year. But Will Johnson, one of the bigger corners in this draft, 6'1 3/4, 194, hands 9 1/8, 30 1/8 inch arms, 75 7/8 inch wingspan. He did not test at the combine. There's conflicting reports about what his film took a little step backwards in 2024, but he's certainly somebody that's going to be mentioned in night one of the draft. And then a guy that a lot of people argue is one of the best corners in this draft is Jahdae Barron from Texas. 5'10 3/4, 194 pounds, 9.5 inch hands, arms 29 5/8, wings 74. So he's not real long levered, as Coach Mack would say. But he tested off the charts. A 4.39 40, 1.5 seconds in his first 10, 35-inch vertical leap, 10.3 broad jump. And, again, another guy in the college football playoffs, made plays consistently for the Longhorns. And then a couple of the other ones that I've got in here, Azariah Thomas from Florida State, 6'1.5", 197, 10-inch hands.
Wow.
Yeah, mitts, 32 3/8 inch arms, 78-inch wingspan. The only thing he did at the combine was a broad jump at 10.2. But all you got to do is look at the film, and you can see a big physical corner in that. And then a guy that we like for later on in the process, probably a day 3 prospect, Quincy Riley, 5'10 5/8, 194, 8.5 inch hands, 31 inch arms, 75-inch wing, a 4.48 40, 154 in the first 10. And talking about a guy that is very much like our current Tennessee Titan in this. He is cut from the same kind of cloth.
Riley is going to be in the lower part of the draft, but he's not a lower tier player.
Correct. But yeah, if you like Jarvis Brownlee, and we all do, I liked him this time last year. Yep. You're going to like Quincy Riley. He's just an even more intense version of Jarvis Brownlee. So we have been told, and kind of how he's been displayed.
Well, if you watch him, I mean, you watch him at the Senior Bowl, and so I mean, we'll see. Again, we're We're not trying to tell anybody who the Titans are going to draft.
No. We're just talking about guys we've looked at. Yeah.
Hey, the other thing, too, for our OT people, anytime you hear us talk about 10-yard splits, especially in these skill positions, anything that has a 5 after the 1 is really good.
Okay.
Is really good. CJ2K was in the 4s. Because I mean that's elite of elite. But anything with 1.5 in it, as far as the 10, as far as we talk about instant burst. So just so you know, that's the range you're looking at.
And there's some guys we'll go through these positions that have those numbers in the 1.4s.
That's crazy. All right, Mac, who's on your list?
Well, first, Travis Hunter from Colorado.
Yes, of course.
To me.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, his physical measurements, he's 6 foot, he's 188 pounds, may have played this year at a lighter weight than that. Hand size, 9 1/8, nearly 32-inch arms, wingspan 75.5. This guy, when you watch him on tape, of course, he played 104 snaps a game. So if you want to watch somebody play, you got a lot of stuff to watch. But his ability, his leaping ability, and his hand extension, and his ability to keep the water in his bucket when a ball is thrown, playing a defensive back is elite. He's got elite explosiveness. His change of direction and his burst is really, really good. His recognition of plays is top level. He's a really instinctive player. His foot quickness and his lower body fluidity is something that you really, really want. He's an effortless player as far as his bend. He's as smooth as silk with all of his physical movements. His eye discipline. I mean, he can recognize things. To me, if this is what he wants to be, he's a number 1 corner. In my humble opinion, which doesn't matter. I'm not drafting anybody anymore. But this guy is elite because his physical ability is rare.
If he wants to be, meaning if he chooses that as his primary role.
Well, if whoever drafts him.
Well, right. I guess they pick, not him.
Well, but he will have a say because this is a rare guy. I mean, the guy that he's played for his entire career, whether he was at Jackson State or whether he was at Colorado, Deion Sanders, was rare. He played corner at a high level. He also played receiver when they wanted to use him as that. He was a punt returner. And then while he was just resting, he'd go play professional baseball. So, I mean, and play it well. So you're talking about a rare athlete. But this guy, when you watch him, he's an exceptional athlete. Exceptional. Next guy, Siobhan Ravel from East Carolina. 6'2", 194, nearly 9 5/8 hands. That's a big paw. Amie, that's about 2 of yours. Arm length 32 5/8, wingspan 79 1/4. I mean, he was at the combine. Of course, he didn't work out because he was injured. But just watching him, he's a really good friend of Quincy Riley. He was recruited by the secondary coach that was Quincy's coach at Louisville. Just looking at him physically, standing down there on the floor at Lucas Oil, this guy is imposing. He's got an ACL. He had an ACL early in this season, but when you go back to watch his other tape, he's got good speed. He's light on his feet. I mean, he can play the ball down the field. I mean, he's really good at the catch point. He's got a big radius. This guy is processing really well. And here's the other thing. For his size, he moves like a guy that's not that big. He moves really, really well. He would be a top 5 player in this draft if he hadn't have hurt that ACL.
Siobhan Ravel, he's right. If he didn't have the ACL, he would be very highly taken in this. He could still be taken in the first round just because the measurables and the athletic part of it is off the charts. Tore the ACL in late September, had surgery October 15th. Surgeon put out a memo to teams just prior to the combine saying he will be cleared this summer, so rock and roll.
Next dude is Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky. 5'11", 183, 8 3/4 hands, arm length 31, wingspan 75. Really liked this guy when we were at the Senior Bowl, just watching him. And then he goes to the combine and blows the doors off of him. He really does. His 40 was a 4.28, vertical jump 39.5, broad jump 10.9. Those are elite lower body explosion and speed. I mean, it's just elite. This guy had 6 interceptions and 8 pass breakups in the last season and a half. His plant and drive for the football is elite. We talk about short area burst and fluidity, really good. really good. I mean, he stood out. He stood out to me at the Senior Bowl before I'd even watched any tape on him. And then you start looking at him, talk about oily hips.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's got them. He's got loose hips. He can transition. He had a shoulder injury in 2024. Now, that's a Rhett nugget. I'll let Rhett go on that. I don't want to be a doctor. Rhett's a doctor.
No one's ever said that till right now, and that is not true. But, yeah, he missed 5 games with a shoulder, and that was why it was important for him to accept the invitation to the Senior Bowl and did very well there and then doubled down on it and really tested well at the Combine. And so now that they see that shoulder is not an issue, I'm sure the medical stuff probably worked out fine. He wouldn't have put up those kinds of numbers if there was something going on with that, I would think. But, yeah, golly, wow, is he fast. Holy Moses.
I like fast.
He's a quick dude.
Yeah.
He's a quick dude, and he can play. Now, he's not going to be a physically imposing guy, but he's going to be very, very in phase with receivers. All right, next guy's Jacob Parrish from Kansas State. 5'9", 191, hand size of 9, 30 7/8, arm length, wingspan of 75, 4.35 in the 40, 10-yard split, 1.51. 37.5 vertical, broad jump of 10.9. This guy, he's a sticky man-to-man guy. He's a violent player. He'll take some false steps at times, but not very many. He can mirror match. When you talk about mirror match, he can stay in phase with receivers without much problem at all. He's a quick twitch guy, plays the ball accurately. I didn't know he was that fast. He's going to be drafted fairly high. And then what he did at the Combine, just the things that I read off, match with what you see on tape.
Hey Titans fans, with a Kroger Boost membership, you'll score big with double fuel points, free delivery, and lots more. Go to Kroger.com/boost for details. Kroger, the official grocer of the Tennessee Titans. Tighten up. Home is the forefront of all we do. It's why we're so committed to caring for the places and spaces in which we work and live. Ashley, the official furniture provider of the Tennessee Titans. Now, back to the OTP. Well, I think we should continue on to linebackers, shall we?
We're making our way up towards the line of scrimmage, yes.
I'm telling you what, we are going from back to front here. We're moving up towards that line of scrimmage. You're right. Rhett, I would love to hear your list of linebackers because I'm guessing it's pretty legit.
Yeah, there's some good off-ball linebackers in this draft, and I think the top of the class is Jihad Campbell from Alabama. Nearly 6'3", 235 pounds, hands 10.5, 32.5-inch arms, 80-inch wingspan. Tested in what he did nice at almost 6'3" and 235, 4.52 in the 40, 1.53 in the first 10 yards, 10.7 broad jump. And the thing about him that is going to make it attractive, obviously he played at Alabama in the defense, but his versatility to be able to play off-ball linebacker and to also be an edge pass rusher, which he has both done at a high level at that program.
As Rhett said, this is a superb athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Superb athlete.
Track guy in high school.
Ah, yes.
But he doesn't have a lot of time on task as an off-ball linebacker.
He was an edge pass rusher mostly and then moved to that.
Well, the reason they moved him is he was playing with 2 number 1 picks on the edge at Alabama.
Yeah.
So they moved him back behind the ball. So right now, his K&D is not natural back there. I mean, you can watch and see. Now, once he sees it and he can get there, I mean, this guy is long, he's fast, he's violent. Whoever takes him, if they start to develop him, and he is versatile. You're going to be able to move him outside and still rush him, but just with a little time on task, learning how to read the center guard triangle, training his eyes and what it is behind the ball, this is a superb athlete. But if you were going to look at somebody right now and say, I mean, he understands all the nuances of playing behind the ball, it's not the case because he just doesn't have a lot of time on task. But I love the athlete.
And with that in mind, still registered 70 tackles, 9.5 for loss, 3.5 sacks in the 2024 season. So,
wow.
Athlete for sure.
A project, but not a big project.
No.
There's
This is the kind of project you want. This
Yeah.
is the house is nearly finished. You just need to maybe put a coat of paint on it. So
Pick
there
out
we are.
the hinges.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The drawer pulls, right?
Yes, exactly.
Barrett Carter from Clemson, 6 foot, almost 6'1" there, 231, hands 9 1/4, arm 32 1/8, wing almost 79. He is going to be somebody that you're going to hear in night 2 probably in all of this, maybe late night 2. A couple of other guys that have my attention Chris Paul Jr. from Ole Miss, almost 6'1", 222, 9 3/8 inch hands, 76-inch wing. He ran 4.63 in the 40, 1.62 in the first 10, 36-inch vertical leap, 9.9 in the broad. And you're talking about a guy that, successful career there with Ole Miss. The guy that I keep bringing up that I really like is Demetrius Knight Jr. of South Carolina. 6'1", just under 6'2", 235, hands 10 inches, wing 80.5. And the testing, good. 4.58 in the 40, 1.58 in the first 10, 7.12 in the 3-cone, 31.5-inch vert, 22 reps at 225. And he's the guy that was he moved from his late high school career as an athletic move quarterback to moving to this position on defense.
Oh, wow.
And so he went 4 years at Georgia Tech trying to learn all that, went 1 year at Charlotte, and that was where I told you guys, Rhett Nugget time here, that he's married. He has a little boy. It's about 7 months old, a daughter that's about nearly 2 years old. And so he has to put food on the table. So after games at Charlotte, not a lot of NIL money at Charlotte. So he's driving for Uber Eats and making extra money to put food on the table. Then he gets an opportunity to hit the transfer portal, goes to South Carolina, has a really nice year there. You talk about a guy that he's an older prospect, but a grown man with a family and knows he's got to put food on the table. He'll play for you.
Yeah. That's a good Rhett nugget. That was a great one.
Rhett's always got nuggets.
Yeah. All right, Mac, you're the linebackers coach here. Love it. What you got?
Carson Schlesinger from UCLA. All right, this guy's 6'2.5", 242 pounds, big hands, over 9-inch hands. Arm length is 32 inches. Good wingspan, 78 3/4, 39.5 vertical. This guy's a quick trigger guy. Now, when you're looking at him, his pursuit range is excellent. He's got good speed. He's got a quick K&D. K&D is key and diagnose. He's very quick with that. He gets ahead of blocks, and you get ahead of blocks by being able to have your eyes in the right place early, because if you wait to figure out to try to get on the blocks, you're already behind. You always try to tell my guys, get ahead of the blocks by all the information you process before the ball is snapped. He can do that. He's fast enough, to run deep if he has to. He's a little undersized. His anchor, we've talked about anchor before, taking something on straight ahead he doesn't have a real strong anchor. He'll get bounced out of his gaps a lot of times, but his ability to cover, which a guy behind the ball nowadays, the space linebackers are important. They're asked to cover, whether you're playing man or zone. I think Carson Schlesinger is a guy, and especially with his key and diagnose ability, is really good. Being
able to see and understand what's going on and react accordingly has to make up for some of the physical things, right?
Well, the thing about playing linebacker is, and I've coached all sizes and shapes of linebackers, but the one thing that I always started with, when I was vetting him, or when I was sitting down with one before the draft, I would put on their tape and I would ask them, what are you looking at here? What are you seeing here? Because you got to get your eyes trained first. You got to learn as a linebacker. It's like driving with your headlights on dim or driving with your headlights on bright. You've got to be able to expand your vision, because the more that you can read that center guard triangle and relate it to what's going on out here and be able to process that with your film study, you've got to get ahead of the play. Because if you're playing pass and run 50-50 on every snap as a linebacker at this level, you're behind. So you've got to be able to process that quickly. The next one is Danny Stutzman from Oklahoma. 6'3", 233, 9-inch hands, wingspan of 79, 4.52 in the 40, a 1.52 10-yard split, 34-inch vertical. You watch him, you see him in person, looks like an NFL linebacker. He's got lateral quickness. His speed, his 4.52, that's pretty average pursuit speed. His quickness makes up for that a little bit, but he's got a good anchor. His stopping power, when he hits you, he stops you. All right, I like that about him. And he uses his length a lot of time to initiate contact. And when I'm looking at linebackers, the one thing in the collegiate game, they've only got 20 hours to coach these guys. And you're working in scheme, you're working this, is they all have to learn I mean, I keep going back to guys that people might know. I've had a lot of linebackers in my career, but they all have to learn how to use their hands to shock and shed and use their arms, use their length. And he does that. He does that better than most. His processing speed can speed up, I think. But I like him because he's played behind the ball a lot, and he's got some time on task doing that. Jeffrey Bassa from Oregon, 6'1", 232. He's a former safety, 9 1/4 hands, 78 3/4. So he's got good wingspan. 4.63 in the 40, 38.5 vertical, broad jump of 9.10. He's got some short area quick explosion. He's got a 7.34 three-cone drill, that's right on the edge. You have to be a pretty good K&D guy to be able to play with that. Now, he's got good pursuit. He can close on it. His instincts, I think, and athleticism will probably lend him to be a sub-package guy right now, a special team sub-package guy. He keeps his composure at the catch point. He doesn't panic. He can hold your water. Keeps the water in his bucket when he's going up looking for the ball. And so he's got a stiff punch on him. So I think to me, he'll be drafted somewhere in the lower part of this. He is a converted safety, but he's a decent space player. He'll be a sub player somewhere.
If a player can't hold their water, what happens?
He gets
penalties?
thirsty.
Oh, Rhett.
The ball's complete. See, a lot of guys can get there, but then there's a moment of truth when the receiver is going up at the catch point and the ball is released. A lot of guys panic and either get behind or they grab or they do this. Holding your water means you're able to keep the water in your bucket, keep it steady so you don't spill. You're able to complete the task.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Jack Kaiser from Notre Dame, 6'2", 231, 9-inch hands, 77 wingspan, 90 tackles. This guy's around the ball a lot, 2 forced fumbles. I mean, he's got good instincts. He's an instinctive player. He's a reliable tackler. He has experience playing all 3 linebacker positions in Notre Dame's defense. He played the Mike, which is the middle linebacker, played the Sam, which is to the tight end side, played the Will, which is to the open side, and he's a core special teamer. Probably what he's going to be starting out in this league, but I liked him just watching him blitz and stuff. It's a pretty savvy player.
Dude played a lot of football in 2024 because we know as deep as that thing went. Played 16 games.
It's a lot. It's
a
lot.
Rookie wall should be nothing to him.
Yeah. Rhett, it seems like there's a lot of depth in this draft at the linebacker position. Is that correct?
I think it's decent.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Depends on what flavor you're looking for. There's a lot of different ones.
Okay.
They're different. I don't think you can categorize this. I mean, the guys that I read off, when I say that, they're probably going to be a core teamer coming in, they're probably going. There are a lot of different types. Of linebackers in there. You've got guys have been converted from the edge to back behind the ball. They're guys that are really good athletes that may not be as good as K&D guys. So there's a lot of different types.
Pick your flavor, like Baskin-Robbins.
And there's more than 31 in this deal.
There you go.
About 257 will be chosen over those 3 days.
All right, you guys. Whew. We did safeties, we did corners, we did linebackers. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your position previews. This was fun.
Yes. Let's do some more.
Let's do more.
Yes.
How about next time we talk a little defensive line and maybe throw in some edge rushers just for fun?
I like that.
We can do it.
All right. For Coach Mac, Rhett Bryan, I'm Amie Wells. Thank you for joining us for this edition.
Wait, before we go off here, Ashley, don't stop.
Oh, my gosh. What? I keep thinking something's on fire.
No, but okay, look, here's the next thing we're going to do before we ever I want to get a measuring tape in here and measure your hand, because every time we talk about hand size, you put your hand down on the piece of paper. You want to know.
I want to know how big my hand is.
You want to know exactly.
But I know paper is 8.5 by 11, so if it's thumb to pinky, I can kind of get an idea based on the paper.
Ash
so
has a tape measure.
Ash
has a tape measure.
Put it down.
I knew she would.
Ash,
we're just going to do this right now.
Ash, measure it. Measure it.
Ashley
So
Farrell.
No, you don't
thumb
hold
to pinky?
that. Ash, do it.
Who holds it?
She does.
Yeah.
You don't get to measure your own hand. Stick it flat on the table.
Put it on the
Stick
table.
it flat on the table.
Oh, my hand
Your
or the
hand.
table?
No, what the hell are you doing? Go from
8 inches.
That's a big hand. It is.
I played piano for 4 years.
Do it. Measure it again. Let me be sure
It
that's
really
right.
is.
No, wait a minute.
Pinky to thumb.
That's exactly how you do it. Stretch it out.
Oh, I can almost get a quarter. That's 8 1/4.
Thank you, Ashley.
Dude, that hurts.
That's so great. Now,
8 1/4.
well, that's what we're saying next time we get on here.
All right, there you go.
So, hey.
This is why you tune into the OTP.
Your hands are bigger than Kenny Pickett's.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, me and most of America, I think. All right. For this edition of the OTP, I'm Amie Wells. That's Rhett Bryan. That's Coach Mac. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time.